Hello, welcome to the audiobook of my Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's fanfic, Crimson Star Priestess. If you are enjoying this series, make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe to my channel for updates. The link to the fanfic and my Discord server are in the description below. I do not own any Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's characters, I only own my original characters. I sat in the middle of the rose garden on Goodwin's property and read a book about administration. The early September weather was nice and warm, like it was still summer. I was dressed in a white and black ribbon belted half-sleeve top, black belted shorts that had grey vertical stripes, black strappy-heeled sandals, a pair of large black gem earrings, and a freshwater pearl necklace. I also got a new pair of glasses, but they were rectangular shaped because I lost the old pair during the war with the Darksigners. Last month had been quite hectic, so it was nice to have some free time. Aki's birthday was in August, so Leo, Luna and I got invited to the Isayoi mansion to celebrate her day. Yusei, Jack and Crow couldn't come because they were still in satellite, but they managed to send some presents through sector security with Goodwin and Troja's help. I got adopted by Goodwin, so I was now nationally registered and had the same rights as the other adults. I was currently going on an online course about administration because I got the job offer to become Goodwin's personal secretary in Sector Security's headquarters. I was going to start in a few weeks, so I had to pick up the pace. My mark started glowing, which indicated Aki and the twins were on their way to the property. I smiled before I shut the book and stood up from the bench. I headed back to the mansion just as a limousine parked by the entrance. The twins jumped out of the vehicle before Aki followed them, all three of them dressed in their usual outfits. "Hi Estelle!" Leo greeted with a wide grin. "Hi guys!" I greeted with a small wave with my right hand as I held my book in the left hand. "You seem pretty excited today." "Of course we're excited! They will inaugurate the Daudelos Bridge tomorrow!" Leo jumped up and down while waving his arms. "We'll see Yusei, Jack and Crow again!" My smile widened by the thoughts of seeing the satellite trio again, especially Yusei. It feels like we haven't seen them in a long time. "Yeah, I'm looking forward to see them again," Aki nodded. "Me too," Luna added. "They're like big brothers I've never had." "Hey, I'm your big brother, Luna," Leo retorted while looking very surprised and offended by his twins' words. "Yeah, Leo, but you said yourself you see Yusei as a big brother," Luna argued. Leo froze for a second before laughing sheepishly. "I guess I did." I chuckled softly before turning to the front door. "Let's continue the conversation inside, shall we?" The signers and I sat on a balcony as we had some tea and sweets. Leo's eating manners hadn't improved, so he was gobbling down one cookie after another. Luna could only shake her head in disappointment at her brother's manners. Aki just smiled sheepishly before she sipped her cup of tea. "How's the Duel Academy, guys?" I asked to start a conversation. Aki and the twins had transferred to the Duel Academy at the beginning of September, so this had been their first week. The twins had been homeschooled for a long time, but they managed to convince their parents to get them enrolled to the academy. Aki hadn't been in the academy ever since she ran away, so I suspected she had a difficult time adapting to the old school life again, considering her old reputation. It's okay, Luna nodded. The teacher is nice, but I still have a hard time interacting with the other children. That's 'cause you're shy, Luna, Leo pointed out. We've barely talked to kids our age besides Dexter, and Mom and Dad always kept us safe in our house for as long as I can remember with the babysitters and tutors. The birds are meant to leave the nest when they're ready to face the world, not to lock them inside a cage where they could never learn how to act in the world outside. I mumbled to myself before I took a sip of my tea. What'd you say, Estelle? Leo asked. Nothing, I shook my head. How is it for you, Aki? Well, the female signer began as she placed her teacup on the table. My odd reputation of how I destroyed the Do Stadium years ago is still in the air, so both students and teachers are a bit scared of me. That and everyone saw me participate at the Fortune Cup and how I almost destroyed the Kaiba Dome. My eyes grew a bit sad when I heard that. But you're in control of your psychic powers now, right? Yeah, I have full control, Aki nodded with a soft smile. And I know I'm not alone anymore as I used to feel before. My parents have really abandoned themselves after abandoning me, and I know you guys and Yusei, Jack and Crow are there by my side, so the Tool Academy is not as scary as I first anticipated. That's nice to hear, I smiled. And if there are any rumors or gossip around, just ignore them. As a famous doctor used to say on my favorite talk show back in my world about irresponsible children, don't reward bad behavior. As long as you don't react at the bully's words, they'll soon get tired of it and will leave you alone. That doctor sounds like he was very smart, Luna commented. Yeah, Dr. Phil sure was, I nodded. I learned a lot from him and his show about various people and family problems. Anyways, back to the real matter, Leo yelled all of a sudden. The Daudelos Bridge will be inaugurated tomorrow and the tag tournament. I'm so ready to rock my deck. It was a nice idea of Goodwin to allow Satellite and New Domino duelists duel each other as a sign of connection of the two cities joining together, Luna commented. And the idea to randomly pair one duelist from New Domino and Satellite together for each team is great too, Aki nodded before her smile dropped. But I have a feeling many people from New Domino will oppose because criminal duelists were marked and shipped to Satellite. They might stay away from them. The doubt and discrimination won't fade away in just one day, I shook my head. It takes lots of time and trust from both sides before they can live a normal life. Sure, crimes will still be committed, but tomorrow is a chance for both sides to enjoy and become one with the duels, just as it was intended at the Fortune Cup. Are you gonna duel, Estelle? Leo asked. Of course, I nodded with a small smile. I don't want to miss this opportunity to try out my new deck. New deck? You rebuilt it? Luna wondered. Yep. A few days after the Dark Signers War, the Crimson Dragon transported my collection of Duel Monsters cards to me so I can modify my deck. Of course, Goodwin's got his huge collection, but I want to use my own cards that I'm familiar with. Yeah, it was quite a shocker when Goodwin showed up with you by his side last week on television for an interview when he was announcing the official date of the inauguration of the Daudelos Bridge, Aki nodded. That and announcing he had adopted you. The kids at school couldn't stop talking about you and your blue eyes, Leo added. Many still wonder if you're a Kaiba and you inherited his blue eyes with dragons before he disappeared. But that's not true, Luna shook her head as she picked up a chocolate cookie. Only we know where you really got your blue eyes and other powerful monsters like Five-Headed Dragon and Star Eater. I hope you're not telling people I'm from another world, I said seriously. Of course not, Leo replied. I may have a slow brain, but I know better than not talking around. I'm just checking, I responded with a slight teasing voice. You do have a big mouth, Leo. Finally someone else says that and not just me, Luna sighed. Hey, do you think we might end up getting paired with Yusei and the others? Aki spoke up, trying to break the chain of this conversation. It's possible, I said, but last time I heard from Goodwin, he said many duelists from Satellite has entered the tournament, so we could get anyone as our partners. Well, I want to duel with either Yusei or Jack. They're both my heroes, Leo cheered as he threw his hands up to express his joy. We'll only find out who our partners are when we go to the bridge tomorrow, right? Luna questioned. Correct, I nodded. You head to the tables where the staff will give you a card with a number after you get registered. Goodwin's arranged that people who have a deck but lack a duel disc can borrow one for the tournament and return it afterwards. Goodwin's really trying to make up for the bad things he has done, Aki pointed out. He sure does, I nodded as I smiled warmly while thinking about my new father. He's treating me like I really am his daughter, the child he never had. Can we see your new deck, Estelle? Leo asked. Want to cheat already, Leo? I replied teasingly. What? No, I'm just curious, Leo retorted with pink cheeks. Well, you have to wait until tomorrow to see my deck. I don't want to spoil my cards and combos. Then we better prepare our decks too, so you won't predict our combos, Aki told me. The twins and Aki stayed over for 2 hours before Aki's limousine arrived to drive them home. I waved to them from the porch until the vehicle had vanished from my eyesight. I never told them that the tag tournament on the Daedalus Bridge was actually my idea and Goodwin had approved it. I looked up at the sky and watched the white fluffy clouds. Tomorrow was going to be the first time I would see Yusei, Jack and Crow after 2 months. My heart jumped a bit in excitement for seeing my crush again. I had been able to talk to the trio by telephone once, and that was when they had sent over Aki's birthday gifts. I also couldn't help but wonder who else would show up at the tournament and how many faces I would recognize. I brushed my bangs aside, which I had allowed to grow in the last few months before walking into the mansion. The morning weather was sunny and lovely for both the inauguration of the Daedalus Bridge and the tag tournament. I arrived to the bridge 1 hour before the registration to help out with the preparations. I was dressed in more of a bold style today than in my usual feminine style because I wanted to adapt to the weather and the condition. Since the tournament was going to be on the bridge, the area was completely open and the breeze from the ocean was quite chilly. I was dressed in a black camisole with red lacy baby doll and a few ribbons, dark red and black check patterned tartan biker jacket, black and red tight skirt with vertical stripes, black leggings that went down to below my knees, red strap pumps with the head being a bit pointy, a red and white cap with a black love logo, black rimmed aviator sunglasses with the glass having a slight dark red tone, a pair of black and dark red double triangle earrings, and a necklace with 3 ruby square gemstones. I had a cap on me so I wouldn't suffer from heat stroke. People of the staff for the tournament were busy setting up tables and chairs for them with equipment such as mini printers for the number cards and the laptops. A huge refreshment table was set up with water bottles in coolers and some snacks for a hungry stomach or 2. Several chairs and tables had been set up with big parasols as a rest area. While this was on the new Domino City's side, I knew they were setting up the same things by the bridge's other side that was now connected to satellite. Several sector security officers were at the scene to keep everything in order and make sure no one would interfere. To my surprise, I spotted Mina and Trudge among the officers. They were dressed in their usual outfits and they were together with Cass. "Trudge! Mina!" I called as I walked towards them. "Hi Estelle," Mina greeted. "I didn't expect to see you here so early." "I wanted to help out with the preparations," I explained. "Are you guys here to duel too?" "I'd love to, but Director Goodwin assigned me as one of the security guards," Trudge replied before he turned to Cass. "Oh yeah, kid, this young man here is Kazuma Soichi, but we call him Cass for short. He's one of our fresh newcomers at Sector Security." "Trudge, I've been working at Sector Security since April this year," Kazuma chuckled before he nodded to me. "And I've met Estelle before." "You did? When did that happen?" Mina wondered. "He was the officer who brought me to Goodwin's office the day after Yusei and I were arrested," I explained. "Hey, I just noticed, Estelle. Where's your dual disc?" Trudge asked. "Katsumi, one of the maids in the mansion, will deliver it later," I replied. "I didn't want it to get in the way while helping out, and I don't want it to get stolen." "Why would a dual disc get stolen?" Kazuma wondered. "Did Director Goodwin buy you an exclusive one?" Something like that," I hesitantly replied. Trudge let out a soft chuckle. "Well, the director doesn't waste time to pamper his daughter. After working at Sector Security for more than 10 years, I can tell he's happier now than before." "Really?" I asked as I heard something new and interesting. "Yeah, really," Trudge nodded. "He's got this calm aura around him now. He used to have a serious and do not test my patience aura, but it's changed since you came into his life. Everyone's noticed the change and several of our colleagues like the new director." "I admit Goodwin was stoic and stern in the past, but is warm and gentle now," Mina added with a small smile. "He's got a father's presence." "That's the effect children have on their parents," Kazuma chimed in. We laughed at the comment before I excused myself and went back with the task of the preparations. We were done half an hour before the registration would open, but a few duelists started to show up early. We decided to let the registration desk open since we were ready, so the staff started getting busy by registering the duelists and giving them their fresh printed number cards. I decided to do the same thing and got my number card. Katsumi showed up 15 minutes later with my new dual disc. This dual disc was actually a gift from the Crimson Dragon. The device looked like the head of a red dragon's. Its mouth served as the deck holder that could eject when I had to insert the deck. The blade where you placed the cards looked like a dragon's wing. When it was deactivated, the wing would fold itself like with the standard dual disc. The dual disc had 3 orange gems that looked like a pair of eyes and a giant jewel on the forehead. I sat alone by a table in the rest area and watched the duelists that came for the tournament. The lines for the registration had grown longer as the clock hit 9 a.m. The tournament itself was going to start at 10 a.m, so it was a good thing people arrived early to get a chance to duel. I cast an eye at the bridge as I noticed a small crowd of duelists coming from satellite. Several officers gathered around to make sure none of them would commit a crime or fights would break out. I saw the people from satellite had the dual discs on their arms, so they were coming for the tournament. I turned my eyes back at the registration desk and blinked when I spotted 3 familiar figures. It was Aki and the twins. I waited until they received their number cards and got up from the chair to greet them. "Aki, Leo, "Luna!" I called as I waved my right hand. "Estelle!" the twins shouted in joy as they rushed towards me. I walked to meet up with them before they wrapped their arms around me as much as they could with their dual disc strapped on their arms. "Good morning to you too," I smiled as I patted the twins' heads. "Good morning, Estelle," Luna smiled. "Are you feeling refreshed in your heads to duel?" I asked as the twins let go of me. "Yep, I'm ready to duel," Leo nodded as he punched his fist in the air. "Come on, bring it on!" The rest of us laughed at Leo's constant enthusiasm before I looked at Aki. "Is your rose garden deck ready too, Aki?" "Yes, but I spent half the night to modify it," the girl confessed before she hit a yawn with her right hand. "Hey Estelle, have you heard from Yusei and the others yet?" Leo wondered. "I'm afraid not," I shook my head. "But they could show up any minute now. Want to sit down by the rest area and wait for them?" We walked back to the rest area and sat down by a table with 4 chairs to mingle. More duelists started to show up from both New Domino City and Satellite. I sometimes watched duelists from the corner of my eyes as the group of duos were formed. Most of the people from New Domino City seemed to ignore the status rift and even took the initiative to get to know their satellite partner. But there were those who were a bit disgusted and wanted to avoid their team partner until the tournament would begin. The satellite duelists were more or less the same as the duelists from New Domino. The majority was nice, but there was a group that was careful with the wealthy side. Hey, look! Leo suddenly called, bringing me out of my trance. "There's Yusei!" I snapped my head towards the bridge and spotted 4 familiar figures. They were indeed Yusei, Jack, Crow, and even Kalin. All 4 of them had a dual disc on their arms, Kalin being the only one who had the standard version. "And Jack and Crow and Kalin," Luna added with a smile. The twins ran ahead to meet up with the former enforcers, while Aki and I walked in a gentle pace behind them. Leo and Luna literally jumped onto Yusei while telling him and the other 2 male signers that they had missed them. "Nice seeing ya again, kids," Crow grinned as he messed with Leo's hair. "Long time no see, guys," I greeted the group. "I'm glad to see you again," Aki spoke up. "Thank you for the birthday presents you sent to me. I really liked them." "Glad to see you guys too," Yusei nodded with a tiny smile. "And I'm glad you liked them, Aki." "Are you excited to duel with us again?" Leo asked with big shiny eyes. "Leo, we don't even know if we paired with each other," Luna pointed out. Jack snorted loudly. I rather prefer this was a one-on-one tournament. This could have been the beginning of my new journey to become the true king of games once again." "Someone's getting fired up," I mumbled quietly. Kalin remained in the background before he stepped forward. I've heard about the 4 of you and..." He began nervously before he bowed. "Thank you for looking after Yusei, Jack and Crow." That's okay, Kalin," Aki said, a bit surprised as she waved her hands. "You don't have to bow." Something about his behavior made me feel a bit concerned about him. Did he already get affected by the aftermath of being a dark signer? "Speaking of, what numbers did you get?" Crow asked as he held up a card with a big S on the back representing Satellite. "Maybe some of us did get paired up." "I got 26, Leo said. 42 for me, Luna said. "I have 33, Aki said. "And I have number 14, I said. "Darn it," Crow cursed softly. "The only pair here is Yusei and Estelle." I blinked my eyes before I turned to Yusei. He was holding his card with the number 14 on it. I checked my card again to make sure I hadn't mistaken my number. Did we get paired up randomly, or did Goodwin play something behind of this? I dropped the thoughts and gave Yusei a small smile. Guess we'll be partners again, Yusei. I promise not to let you down. I don't care about winning, but I'm sure we'll make it work, the young man chuckled. I nodded before I got a serious expression. By the way, can I talk to you privately, Yusei? Sure. He nodded while raising an eyebrow. I turned to the others. We'll be right back. In the meantime, you can look for your partners. If you can't find them, just go to the registration desk and ask them to call for the partner. Okay, got it. Sure, whatever. I turned around and led Yusei away from our friends while they returned to their task of finding their tournament partners. Once we were far away, I turned to Yusei, who looked confused. What's wrong, Estelle? He asked. It's about Callan, I began, noticing how Yusei's body got a little stiff. He seemed a bit out of it just now. Is he having flashbacks from the time he was... Yusei's shoulders sank as he turned his head away, but he nodded as answer. Yeah, a week after we returned to Satellite, he started having fever dreams twice a week. Jack, Crow and I rushed to his room when we heard him crying and tried calming him down when it happened the first time. He looked so pale and lost as he stared at us with big eyes. Since then, he's been a bit distant and always has this guilty look on his face. Dr. Smith told us and Martha he's showing signs of depression, and if he doesn't change soon... I nodded, indirectly telling Yusei he didn't have to say more. Has Callan ever asked if the dreams he had were real? He did, but we weren't sure if we should tell him or not. But the more we saw him suffer, the more we realized it was best for him to know what happened, Yusei sighed. And how did he take it? That's the thing. His expression was blank when we told him everything about the Dark Signers and the Earthbound Immortals. His eyes turned cold and lost, as if he had committed the worst crime ever. I looked up at the sky, trying to formulate my thoughts into verbal words. Callan was getting depressed because he had almost killed Yusei and the others, but that was now behind us. Everyone was well and alive, but Callan couldn't let go of the past. That must mean he treasured Yusei, Jack and Crow very much, and he couldn't forgive himself for even having thoughts of hurting them. He needed some kind of distraction, but what? Did he ever say what he was going to do once Satellite was connected to New Domino? I questioned. He said he was thinking about going on a journey to clear his head, Yusei replied with worried eyes. But I don't think it's the best idea due to his depression. I nodded, understanding what that meant. You're afraid he might do something foolish and may never come back. Jack, Crow and I fear if we try to stop him, he might try sneaking out in the middle of the night without leaving a goodbye note, Yusei added before he turned his eyes at the ocean. He was like a big brother to us, a leader who gave us a purpose to protect Satellite. I always looked up to him, but it hurts not to know how to help him. Something about Yusei's words caught my attention. Protect. I think I just got an idea, I spoke up, but I'm not sure if it's helpful. What is it? Yusei asked, his voice sounding hopeful. Callan used to be the kind who wanted to serve justice and keep the peace in Satellite, right? That's why he founded the Enforcers in the first place, correct? That's true. He wanted to destroy the dual gangs who hurt the weaker ones and make sure the streets were safe for everyone, dualists and non-dualists, children and adults alike. This is just a theory, But what if he joined Sector Security? Sector Security? Well, he needs to first graduate from the Domino Police Academy before becoming a security officer. The thing is, this could be a good distraction for him and, at the same time, make amends for the bad things he had done in the past, and it could help him get through the depression by finding a new reason to live. Life is precious and it should not get wasted by staying in the past. The clock is constantly ticking forward, and that's what his clock in his soul must do. Put the batteries back where they belong and move forward. Yusei looked down at his feet as he comprehended my words. I waited patiently for him to think through before he looked up with a revealed and hopeful smile. You're right, this could be the help he needs. I couldn't help but smile softly as I felt relieved that I managed to help. Try to talk to Callan about this first and convince him if it's necessary. I'll see what I can do to help him get enrolled to the academy by asking Goodwin for the details. This can be the beginning of the new Callan Kessler's life. Yusei nodded while his small smile remained on his lips. I'll try talking to him about this. Thank you, Estelle. No problem, Yusei, I smiled. Callan is a friend of yours, and any friends of designers are my friends as well. After that, we walked to the rest area where the other signers had found their tournament partners and teamed up with them. I also met Lenny and his two companions, Tanner and Yanagi, who came to duel in the tournament, a young male named Alex, who Yusei befriended in the facility, and Hunter Pace from the Fortune Cup when he replaced Shira. Carly and Misty showed up to watch the tournament from the sidewalk. Well, Carly got sent by the magazine she was working for to write a report and interview a few duelists. Her rival, Angela Rains, showed up with her fancy TV crew and literally pushed the other reporters aside to get the first-class place by the barrier that enclosed the bridge to keep the duelists safe. Goodwin soon made an appearance and held a short speech before the tournament was on. Yusei and I found our opponents for the first round and prepared our duel discs. Ready, Yusei? I asked my partner while having a determined expression, glaring at the opposing team. I'm ready, Yusei replied. Let the Daedalus Bridge tournament, the Bridge of Unity, begin! Goodwin's voice echoed from several loudspeakers that had been set up around the bridge. Every duelist activated their duel discs as the audience cheered around us, everyone yelling the magic word. Duel!